Hello everyone and welcome to YBA's K-Sports Sunday live from the Rex Trailer Boomtown Studio. I'm TJ Horgan, alongside me Tom Kelly. So today you have TJ and TK. First off, this has been a pretty interesting week in sports. NFL draft, playoffs, Bruins almost getting close to getting to the playoffs right now. Right now we have John Hand and Jason Siegel pre-recorded a segment for you about basically recapping what happened in sports this week.
Hello and welcome into Pardon the J, the show where me and my co-host Jason Siegel take 30 seconds to answer each question we prepared for ourselves as thoroughly as possible. And now I welcome in my co-host Jason Siegel, the other J in this conversation. Jason, how are you feeling today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm feeling pretty good. So this past week, the NFL draft happened. 20 years ago, this wasn't a big spectacle, but now, thanks to ESPN and NFL Network, the NFL draft is it's a show. It's in Radio City Music Hall. It's this big event. So what were your thoughts on this year's draft?
Well, it's certainly, I think, exciting for the players to be able to kind of be on the national stage before they get to play, and there's a lot of talk about them, but, you know, as a fan, I'm not really that interested in it.
See, I find it interesting. I think with the NFL draft, this is the future of these franchises. This player can destroy or make your franchise. Let's look at Andrew Luck, turns around the Colts. Jamarcus Russell, Raiders aren't so good right now.
Yeah.
I mean, even now they've made it so there's like pre-game, pre-draft parties and stuff. It's a whole spectacle. It's really fascinating. Now we're going to move on to the Patriots draft. They had started off the draft with 5 selections, but being Bill Belichick, he made some moves and he got a few more selections. He traded his first-round pick to the Vikings for a second-round pick, a third-round pick, and a seventh-round pick, I believe. So we're going to go through each of the draft picks the Patriots made and give our grades and what we think about each of their picks. So they started off in the second round, as we mentioned. They got rid of their first-round pick to the Vikings. And they drafted Jamie Collins, a linebacker out of Southern Mississippi, 6'3", 250 pounds. What do you think of it?
Well, he was the top outside linebacker in vertical jump and broad jump, and not only can he rush the passer, he can also drop into coverage, and Bill Belichick is a guy who likes versatile players to use them in any offensive set.
Yeah, see, I think the key word here is versatile. He can, he's big and he can move. But I don't get this pick because your linebacking core is pretty good right now. You have Brandon Spikes and Gerard Mayo and Dante Hightower, who they drafted last year. So I didn't get this pick so much.
Yeah, I think maybe they're just trying to add, you never know with injuries, and up front is an important part of the game. Yeah, so now, keeping going with the second round, their next pick they got Aaron Dobson out of Marshall. And before we talk about this pick, 2 very good Patriot wide receivers have come out of Marshall, including Troy Brown and Randy Moss. So if history proves itself correct, this could work out well for the Patriots. What do you think of this pick? Well, he's an outside receiver, which might surprise some people considering Wes Welker was more of a slot receiver, which is who they lost. And he has good speed, and they might be using him on special teams at some point during the year as well. Yeah,
I thought this was a great pick for the Patriots. At Marshall, he didn't have a great quarterback, but he's 6'3", he's tall, and he can run down the field, which is what the Patriots didn't have. Because they did add Danny Amendola. He's not Wes Welker, but he is a slot guy. They still have Julian Edelman. I like this pick a lot for the Patriots. He's raw but talented, as the NFL Network described it. You know, he'll be able, and I think Tom Brady here is going to be the key because he will make any wide receiver good. That's the key here. I mean, he'll throw the ball. All he has to do is catch it. I mean, he'll put it right on that spot.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So I guess now moving on to the third round, they finally went with cornerback, which was one of their more needed positions, especially last year. Before Aqib Talib, that secondary of the Patriots was absolutely atrocious. So they started this Rutgers theme that we saw reoccurring throughout the Patriots draft. They drafted Logan Ryans, cornerback out of Rutgers. What do you think of this pick?
Well, they've drafted a lot of cornerbacks, and really none of them have worked out so far. I think they needed to trade for a cornerback if they're really this concerned with it. I mean, he's has a high football IQ, which are guys that Bill Belichick likes, and another guy that they might be able to use on special teams.
Yeah, I thought this was a good pick. He has good speed. He can cover inside and outside. But the thing with the Patriots is they draft these cornerbacks. They excel the first year, but the next year they don't do so well. So we'll see what happens this year with them. I think it was a good pick, but good pick for the Pats. Keeping going with the Rutgers theme, they draft Derman Duron Harmon. That's a mouthful. Safety out of Rutgers. What do you think of this one?
Well, he's a guy that's supposed to be playing in the middle of the field, which is something that they really need help with. I mean, pretty much the entire backfield they need help with. But like you mentioned, second year, cornerbacks and players in secondary have struggled for the Patriots.
Right. This was a weird pick. This guy didn't even go to the combine, which is interesting. And this is where you have to have faith in Bill Belichick and say, Bill Belichick hopefully knows what he's doing, and this guy will end up producing for the Patriots. Weird pick, I thought, though, right here for the Patriots, considering he didn't go to the combine. So now we're moving on. I believe this is the 4th round starting. So this was yesterday's pick for the Patriots. They select Josh Boyce, another wide receiver out of TCU. I thought this was a very good pick. He was a good wide receiver at TCU, had great production, and he knows how to have a good QB. RG3, his quarterback in high school, and Andy Dalton, he had Andy Dalton at TCU. I think this is a good pick.
Yeah, and Josh Boyce, he does have a lot of speed. He's not exactly the hardest worker, but Bill Belichick is going to get him working, so that really shouldn't be a concern. He did very well in the 3-cone drill, getting 6.68. Best was 6.65. So I mentioned his speed, and they do need kind of like a slot receiver without Wes Welker, and with the injuries to Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez, they really needed to add to their receiving core.
Yeah, they've definitely kind of almost redone this wide receiving core, and I think that's very important considering all the injuries they've had with Wes Welker, with the loss of Wes Welker and Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez being injured. All right, so now in the 6th round, they draft Michael Dubani. I'm probably saying that wrong, I'm sorry. From Illinois. He's 6'5", 225 pounds. He's a defensive end. What'd you think?
Well, he's also an offensive linebacker, and he's a very good pass rusher. So again, getting help in the trenches, and Bill Belichick, he's a guy who's going to work guys hard. We saw they had like the shift where they had guys going up and down to try to force the other team offside. So we'll see what he does with this kid.
Yeah, I like this pick. He's had off-the-field issues, but we know the Patriots can fix those issues. He had, in 2011, 64 tackles, 13.5 for loss. Big pick here for 6th round. I think this is a good value for the Patriots. So now the 7th round, they got rid of one of their draft choices. They traded that to the Buccaneers along with Jeff Demps, and they got LeGarrette Blount. What do you think of this trade?
Well, LeGarrette Blount, 2012, 41 carries for 151 yards, averaging about 3.7 yards. And he's another guy who has had off-the-field issues. And I'm kind of surprised they do have Stephen Ridley, although did they lose Danny Woodhead in the offseason?
Yeah, they did lose Danny Woodhead.
They did, so I think that is the main reason why they did this trade.
Yeah, let's see what they can do with this guy. You mentioned his off-the-field issues. If we think back to Oregon, he punched a guy in the face on the field, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
But his rookie year, he had good production. He's kind of dropped off, but if he makes his team, we'll see what he does. I mein, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Didn't give up much. So then with their last pick, they kept going with the Rutgers theme, and they chose Steve Beautelanas. I'm awful with names. I am sorry about that. But for the 7th round, that is not a bad pick. I mean, this guy's a leader, a run stopper. He's had 274 tackles at Rutgers. Pretty good value for your last pick.
Yeah, and they seem like guys who do well in the 3-cone drill. The best was 6.99. He got 6.91. And defensively, you have Vince Wilfork as your captain, who's also a great leader. So kind of like the next generation. And as you mentioned, it's a 7th-round pick. So, if it works out, then, it's kind of a steal. And if it doesn't, you didn't give up much for him.
You didn't do it. So, I mean, do you see this guy fitting in anywhere for the Patriots?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, Vince Wilfork is getting older, as is Brandon Spikes, so you would think that while they're there, you would want to give them some experience.
Right, so I guess overall, I thought the Pats did pretty well. I thought the Jamie Collins in the 2nd round was a surprise, but overall, I didn't think they did too bad. Wasn't the exciting draft they had last year with Chandler Jones and Dante Hightower going out in the 1st round, but needless to say, another solid draft for the Patriots. So moving on now to the NBA. This is one of the more surprising, well, not surprising, but unusual things for the Boston Celtics. In the 1st round right now, they're down 3-0 to the Knicks. The chances of them coming back are slim to none. But if Boston does know one thing, it's coming back from 3-0, and it's a 3-0, and it's a losing 3-0. You can remember the Red Sox in 2004 come back, that improbable ALCS with the Yankees, and then, of course, the Bruins and the Philadelphia Flyers. They give up their 3-0 lead. So today, 1 o'clock, it's actually happening right now. Celtics and Knicks. Does this end, or do we see the Celtics live another day?
This ends. The Celtics, they have not been able to rebound at all. Both of these teams play small ball with the injuries to Amari Stoudemire on the Knicks side. And, you know, the Celtics without Rondo, if they had Rondo, I think this series could have gone 7 because the Knicks don't really have a true point guard, but I just don't see how the Celtics.
Yeah, this is where we really miss Rondo, I think. But I think they live to fight one more day. I think they win today and lose in New York. The Celtics right now, they are playing decent defense considering the Knicks scored 100 points in the regular season and now they're only averaging 87, but they're not scoring. Paul Pierce is shooting 40% from the field. He has 5 turnovers a game. It's atrocious. Father Time has finally caught up to them. It's not going anywhere. Moving on now to the NHL. The Bruins are about to also head into their own playoff series with, well, we don't know yet, and they play the Ottawa Senators today. If they win, they clinch the division, they get 2nd seed. They lose, they go down to 4th. How do you see the Bruins doing? How do you see the Bruins doing in the playoffs this year?
Well, certainly an issue that has come up for them is their penalty kill. They are 87%, 4th in the league. They gave up 3, including 1 in overtime last night to the Washington Capitals and ended up losing that game. And with 2 young goalies in Anton Khudobin and Tuukka Rask, can they handle that pressure? Can the Bruins score enough goals, averaging about 2.7 goals per game?
Yeah, here's the big thing for the Bruins. You kind of touched on this. 8 blown third period leads. That's awful going into the playoffs. When you see teams turn around going into the playoffs, I think they can do that because of the core group of guys they have around them. So I guess one of the more surprising successful teams we're going to talk about now is the Boston Red Sox. And even more surprising has been their pitching. We go back to last year and even 2011, pitching was the epitome of their downfall. They got rid of Josh Beckett. But now we still have John Lester and Clay Buchholz, and they've come into a new resurgence. What has surprised you the most about this pitching staff?
I think Ryan Dempster's performance. 5 games, he's 1-2. Though the first game that he pitched was some bad weather in New York, averaging 12 strikeouts every 9 innings, a 3.3 ERA, and he has 43 strikeouts.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing for me is Clay Buchholz, because we knew this guy would be good. We didn't know he'd be this good. Right now, he has a 1.19 ERA. That's incredible. He's 5-0 right now, and we know he's had injury problems in the past, but he's been able to battle back, and John Farrell has done a tremendous job. This pitching staff seems to have a swagger back. They're more confident. This is the key to the Red Sox right now, and pitching is the key to winning. Right now, this team's winning. They're doing very good. Well, Jason, this has been a lot of fun. We whipped through about like 5, 6, 7 topics right here. That was a lot of fun. Thank you to all you out there watching. Thank you to Brendan, who I know worked super hard on all those graphics you never saw. Until next time, for Jason, I'm John Hand. Back to you guys at K Sports Sunday.